Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is the big man Boisterous coming to you with some Gosu Grandmaster play. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we have LMntStallion spawning as the red Terran, and up here in the top left, we have ppgBubbles spawning as the blue Zerg. As this game begins, both of the players are saying their good luck, have funs, because neither one of them is Protoss, and they're mannered. ppgBubbles is scouting with his Overlord to the right side of the map. But this is cross spawn, so I'd have to say that I give the slight edge to ppgBubbles just because cross spawns on really any map is kind of in favor of the Zerg, unless he goes for super aggressive and the Terran goes for ridiculously economic. Other than that, I think we're going to be seeing a standard build out of both players. We do have LMNT looking like he's going to be going for the standard wall off on his ramp, which is just supply depot, bunker, supply depot, barracks, supply depot. ppgBubbles isn't doing anything really out of the ordinary, so I'm just really quickly going to voice how excited I am to be casting a Grandmaster level player, because I didn't expect to be getting any attention from Grandmaster level players. I love that people are into supporting the new and upcoming casters. It's very nice. It's very good for the StarCraft 2 community, I would have to say. We do have LMNT dropping that barracks and a fast gas, so we're not going to be seeing anything ridiculous like a 6 racks or any sort of super aggressive play. We did see a 14 extractor 14 pool out of ppgBubbles, so I think he's also not going to be going for anything super special. I'm guessing he's going to be going for somewhere around a 21 hatch, just to try to prevent that kind of really aggressive Terran opener from being effective. Because, I mean, if you go for 15 hatch and the Terran decides to 2 racks you, it's difficult to hold off, to say the least. And, it's just hard to hold off. You would need to have a lot of link production, and that speed would have to be remarkably fast after 15 hatch, which really doesn't happen. And LMntStallion is going for that standard play, and he actually went for a fairly late scout. But then again, ppgBubbles hasn't scouted at all, except with these overlords. So I think he knows. I think he can guess where his opponent is. But other than that, that's not a whole lot. Is ppgBubbles going to be able to snipe this SUV? No, the SUV is going to get inside fine. I think the ppgBubbles is now going to go for scouting the front, but I think he might lose these Zerglings to these Marines if he's not careful, because they don't have speed yet. And these Marines are in a favorable position on this ramp. So, yeah. ppgBubbles is not going to be able to see a whole lot. I'm not sure if he saw that factory. Oh, he did. Man. Pretty nice for ppgBubbles. We do see a bunker coming out. So I think that LMntStallion is fairly afraid of something like a Baneling Bust, which I think is very prudent considering the Baneling Nest is coming up from ppgBubbles, so I think he is going to be going for kind of a Baneling Bust, which I don't think is the greatest decision in this position. I mean, I think this is a fairly easy to break ramp, but I'm not sure how much damage he's going to be able to do after that, especially considering the fact that Hellions are coming up, and Hellions, even, Red Flame Hellions counter Banelings fairly well. It does look like these Banelings are going to be able to do a fair amount of damage, but I'm not sure if that got him ahead, especially with these Red Flame Hellions out, and they'll be able to clean up everything, and that was not really effective beyond just straight up supply blocking his enemy, which, I mean, it's a major annoyance, but I don't think it's that major for LMntStallion, especially because he has a big lead in tech. I mean, ppgBubbles is still on standard hatchery tech. He's not going for an expansion at all. Neither player is actually going for an expansion. I think that ppgBubbles was kind of leaning his entire chance on that Baneling Bust, because he's not really preparing for anything else, and now he's switching back into drones, but he still has a large force of Zerglings, and he's going to be going for his second Baneling Bust, but it's not going to do anything, I do not believe. There's too much defense up here. All the buildings are repaired. He might be able to snipe off this factory if he's really careful about it. And of course, it wouldn't be one of my casty games if there wasn't just a tiny bit of lag to go along with it. Damn you, computer. We do have the Zerglings running in, and I think they're just going to get roasted by these Hellions pretty easily. Come on, computer, you can do it. I believe in you. Man, these Zerglings are really lining up in slow motion. We can really see the action on the battlefield right now. Well, to get away from the lag screen, I think we're going to be going to ppgBubbles base, where he's, again, not going for anything, really. I think those larvae were actually sitting there for a fairly long time before he decided to turn all 7 into drones. And I think that's pretty much just a huge oversaturation. He has 30 drones now, and that's not too effective considering the fact that you really only want 20 to 24. But, yeah, it's not awful. I would like to see him drop a second extractor raid here, because going this long on just straight hatchery tech isn't that great of a play, I would have to say. He kind of wants to start going into that layer type of play, or at least getting heavier upgrades, and to get those heavier upgrades and heavier upgraded units, you need that extra gas, especially if he's going to go for something like a Ling Bling Muto or Ling Bling Fester play. You need that extra gas, and you need to get it fairly early on, just so that you can fight off something like a siege tank marine push or something like that. And I think that's what's going to be coming out of LMntStallion, unless he's getting this tech lab strictly just to get Infernal Pre-Igniter. But I don't see why he would do that, considering the fact the Hellions have already been revealed. And actually, he's going for a lot of Spore Crawlers, so did he sacrifice? I think he sacrificed an Overlord and saw this Banshee play, or when he ran those Lings in there, he just inferred that this Starport wouldn't be up that early, unless he was going for some kind of heavy drops or Banshee play. Or maybe he just saw the Banshee. Man, sometimes. This hatchery might go down. I don't think it will. Not that the Hellions have been scared off, because despite Hellions not doing any damage really at all to buildings, I think they were still major damage dealers there. Man, Spore Crawlers burrow fast now. 6-second burrowing time for the win. Well, he's managed to scare off that push, but I think that he's still significantly behind, because the Terran does have this base up, and the Zerg can't really be on one base for that long. The Terran doesn't have siege mode yet, which is a bit of a surprise. He doesn't have siege mode, he doesn't have Infernal Pre-Igniter, but I still think he's going to be able to fight this off pretty nice. Reasonable micro in that battle, not really losing that much. I think he lost 1 Marine maybe. But it looks like these Banshees are going to go right in again. I think they're probably going to get scared off, because there's 2 Spore Crawlers at the natural, 2 Spore Crawlers at the main. There's a Queen. If they could pick off this Queen, that would be pretty major. And they do, but a Banshee does go down. Ugh. I think this Spore Crawler actually managed to snipe that Banshee, which is unfortunate for LMntStallion, but it's really not that bad. He's not worrying about that at all. I still think he is significantly far ahead just because he has this base, and it's not nearly as saturated as ppgBubbles, but ppgBubbles is going to have a massive push to contend with pretty soon. This is a pretty big Marine tank push with a constant tank production and with almost constant Marine production. We have 4 racks, 2 of them without any add-ons, which is understandable if you're just going for kind of a heavy Marine play. Just because you don't really need those extra things, you just need more barracks. And if you're spending all your gas, or trying to spend all your gas going into heavy tech units like Banshees and tanks, then you kind of just want to leave those barracks, clean, because mules just provide you with such a upstart in your Marine economy. We do have a reasonable Queen micro, but I think this is all going to go down as soon as these siege tanks wipe up this army. I don't think this is going to last for that much longer. These siege tanks are in position. These Lings are kind of just suiciding into the Marines, which I don't think is the greatest use of these Zerglings. I think you really should be trying to take out these tanks, because these spine crawlers, excuse me, can fight off the Marines, but the tanks are really what's going to be completely destroying his base right here. With their heavy versus armor and just long range, it's not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. We do have the Banelings coming out. He is getting a Spire, but I don't know if that's really worth it at this point in time. I would have liked to see some Infestors a while ago, or Mutalisks a while ago, really, because, I mean, Mutalisks with an Overseer can deal with those, these Banshees really well. I mean, they're kind of expensive, but Mutalisks at the same time have the dual purpose of being able to snipe off. Like, this tank could get sniped by Mutalisks. This tank could probably get sniped by Mutalisks. There's actually a lot of them that could be sniped by Mutalisks. But really, I think this push is just going to be the game ender. I'm not sure exactly what ppgBubbles can do at this point. It looks like he is just going to get completely destroyed by this push, which is kind of disappointing, because really, if he had Infestors, he would have been able to wipe out all of these Marines, because LMntStallion he doesn't have any medevacs yet, and Marines without medevacs get completely wiped by Infestors, not by Mutalisks. Despite how effective Mutalisks can be against things like siege tanks or even really Thors, he doesn't need these Mutalisks right now. He needs Zerglings, he needs Banelings to be able to clean up this push. Because if he can wipe out like this pack of Marines with Banelings, he might be able to clean up this push. But I think that it's just going to be the end of the game right now, because ppgBubbles is currently being denied his expansion. ppgBubbles finally says GG and backs out. I mean, I think he had the feeling that a third base was either there or on the way. The Terran had a huge supply lead, and I think that anybody at this level of play can kind of feel when they've lost the game. And definitely losing your natural to a strong Marine tank push is kind of depressing, but it's the end of the game. Well, guys, I would like to thank LMntStallion for sending this game in. He is a Grandmaster level player, so I'm very excited to be getting Grandmaster level replays, and if you guys are Grandmasters, send in your replays. They're just much more entertaining to watch. I think they're at a much higher level of play. They're so much better, and they're in general kind of on the shorter side, so I can bundle them together with maybe a mini game Madness, and those games are typically going to be shorter but a lot more insane and a lot more intense. So this is going to be the 12th game that I've brought to you, because I'm going to be putting out 2 games today. And you guys can check out more games that I've put out at youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. And if you guys want your replays casted, and I'm not looking for Grandmaster level games, despite how fun they are to cast, I'm looking for any level of play games. If you send me in a game within the next couple weeks, you will be immortalized on YouTube of me talking about how you play StarCraft. So, send me in those games. I'm sure you would love to see all those awesome ladder games that you have played get casted, and you can send those games into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. And until next time, guys, this is Boisterous signing out.